Ladies and gentlemen, it's another moment, and we are moving straight up to the panel discussion and panel session for this evening. I'll do the honors to read the profile of one of the panelists, as the other panelists have been introduced already. On Career Expo 2025, Oluroti Akerele will be joining us on the panel discussion this evening. Oluroti is a multidisciplinary, award-winning creative and brand communications expert. With about 10 years of industry experience and a creative mind, Oluroti is ambitious to be a frontline expert and a well-rounded professional in the creative communications industry. His work on brands like Nestle, Maggi, Quaker Oats, Visa, European Union, UNICEF, World Bank, Total Energies, Airtel, Cadbury TomTom, Buttermint, Bonvita, Cadbury HC, Cussons Baby, Keystone, Meristem, Coca-Cola, Sprite, and Philips has earned him a Young Lions 2021 winner, White Square International Advertising and Marketing Festival Awards, and numerous local and continental awards. Ladies and gentlemen, Career Expo 2025, with our other panelists, can we make welcome Oluroti Akerele? Hi, Oluroti. You're welcome.
Hi, thank you for the introduction.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Good evening, everybody, or good day, everybody, depending on where you're connected from the parts of the world. I'm happy to be here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Also, Samuel, SB himself. I hope you're still here with us. Hi, Samuel.
Yes, I am.
Yes, thank you so much. And hi, Amaka, our business intelligence analyst. I hope you're still here with us. Hi, can you hear your voice? Okay, Amaka, thank you so much for joining.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you so much for joining. Anoma.
Hi, I'm here. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so we're very, very blessed with your session yesterday. Thank you so much for coming again. All right, so it's a panel discussion, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll be the moderator this evening. It's of course, the last panel session for Career Expo 2025. If you have questions, we can start, putting them down now, right? So you can, because you'd have the opportunity to ask your questions during the panel session, and also get your pen and paper, and get them ready, right? Because you take notes, your questions will be answered. Right now, we'll move directly straight into the panel discussion for this evening, right? So my first question will be going to Oluroti. I would want to refer you as Super Akerele, but that's fine. Oluroti, we are a young generation, right? And we know that it's an age of artificial intelligence. We have information everywhere. Social media is bombarding us with a lot of, information, left, right, and center. And there's so much, so much to do. And sometimes it seems as if we don't even know what next it is that we want to do. Some of us are battling with, trying to stay true to ourselves. So, how do you think we can hone and retain our own individuality, right? Like build our own brand, stay true to who we are, and be authentic in our career space, whatever we are doing. Let's say, Oluroti, can you help us with that?
Thank you very much. Goodness, I can address you as Goodness, right?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, thank you, Goodness. Thank you for that question. Good evening or good day, everybody. Once more, thank you for having me here. I'm delighted to be here. To address your question, I think my answer would directly lean on building a niche, right? That would be the short answer, right? But for the long form, I would say that building a niche, essentially means being known for something, right? And then staying true to that. I was having a conversation with somebody at an event I was at last weekend, right? And then pretty much told me what it was about, right? A handful of stuff here and there and all of that. But I advised him that I think it's best to have a niche, right? And then stay on that niche such that you build competence. Think of it as a T approach, to your brand. So you either go the width way, like T, the width way, or you have the straightforward or straight downward way. That's the vertical way. So you are either building breadth or you are building depth. Now, building a niche or having a niche will help you to build depth, right? I work in advertising. I used to work in advertising. Now I'm on the client side. And in advertising, we pretty much do nearly everything. And if you look at my bio, you'd have heard, 1,000,001 brands, right? And that's because advertising agencies pretty much work on any and all brands per time. Now, what that helps you do is build breadth. So in terms of financial markets, you are pretty much, hands-on. In terms of commodity trading, you are there. Even if it's technology, science, any of all these brands, like you're there. But now when you then move to the client side, let's say you move to like a payment solutions company, you are building depth there. So to answer your question, so I won't take so much time, is identifying a niche that you are very much interested in, and interest actually plays a key role. So I'll wrap up by explaining exactly how you can carve that niche, right, and build that interest. When you see something, right, that when it's done badly, right, it upsets you, like it ticks all your boxes off, right? Like you wish you had done something to make it right. Now, versus when you see something that is very well done and you wish you were part of it, the intersect of these two ends lies your interest. So you have to just pay attention to it time and time again. I mean, yourself, right? When you walk around, when you browse online, or when you are in meetings, or anything that you see that, oh, okay, let's say it can be an event decoration, image or video, and you're like, oh, this is great, right? And conversely, you see an event decoration video that the colors were off, the lighting is off, and all of that, and it irritates you completely. And you wish that, okay, you have done something that has had made this thing go right. And you're like, I wish they had, contracted this to me. I'd have done this and done that. Therein lies your interest. So to summarize, build a niche, right? It aligns straight into what your interest is, and then from there you can begin to grow your personal brand. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. That was spot on. That was really spot on. Build a niche, build depth, and build breadth. I'll be moving straight to the next question. This question is quite very, these are questions that we have compiled from, participants that registered for the summit. And I'll be directing this question to Amaka. Yes. So, Amaka, somebody is asking,
Okay.
how will AI not take our job today? How will AI not take our job today? Somebody is scared of the rapid pace of AI developments and is asking that question.
Yeah, that's a very genuine concern because the rate at which everything is moving, yes, we all should really be concerned about AI taking our jobs. So how will AI not take our jobs? Number one is at the end of the day, AI cannot deliver services to humans as humans. So what makes us different is our humane skills, such as the communication, the emotional intelligence. We stick to these two for now. For example, you hear most companies these days, they integrated AI in such a way that they don't even want customers to talk to people, like real people. They want them to just say, press 1 to do this, press 2 to do that. And they literally give you answers. And if you're chatting on a portal or a company website with a chatbot, they want you to choose options for them to present to you predetermined answers, like the way you answer FAQs, right? But you still see human beings, they still want to speak to humans. They want to speak to you, especially when it has to do with something really maybe technical, and even sometimes not even technical. They still want to speak to human because there is this comfort that comes with speaking with a real human being and actually expressing yourself or telling them what exactly you want resolved, So with that, I would say that, with all the integration, AI and all of that, we still need to speak to human because we feel that human will understand that I there's an example that is on my head, but I'm just trying not to give that for confidentiality's sake. So they still want to speak to a human being because they feel that they can relate. They have that emotional connection, that communication will be able to resolve their issues faster. Another point I can give is will we constantly upskilling and reskilling. For example, I work as a business intelligence, and I know deep down that it's not going to be for a long time until my role will not be that in high demand. Why I say so is because there are even the systems I work with, there are ways you can actually generate these bar charts in that system. There are ways you can generate this data in that system. I mean, just simple reports you can actually generate it with the systems, right? But when it comes to the complex one, maybe you're forecasting or something really really complex, then you have to really like bring it. Like you need a human being to do these things. But I know that in the future, these systems technology is constantly having breakthroughs, and they'll come to a time where this complex forecasting and complex data analysis will still be handled by AI. So what me as a person, what I'm doing is looking at other skills that I have that I think makes me different from a machine or makes me different from the system I'm working with, and that is me being able to present this data to stakeholders in the way that they will understand. Me being able to present it with context, because the AI is not going to do that for them. I'm in the business. I know what the business is saying. I know what the numbers are saying. I'm able to explain these numbers, to them, provide a context to them. Even there are people in this some of our stakeholders, they're not even they're not techie, they're not tech savvy. So even if you present the result, they'll still say, but how, like, you need to really like break it down, come down to their level. AI is not going to do that, except of course, you keep asking ChatGPT, okay, explain this, explain that. That will also take a lot of time. So what I feel is that communication and emotional intelligence, the human skills is what is going to actually make us give us an edge, and of course reskilling to know what is the next thing in line for your career path, so that you don't go obsolete or so that AI will not replace you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amaka. Thank you. That was well said. I think the person that asked that question can learn a thing or two from what you just said now, right? Like the human skills, right? And you can embrace AI, but the human skill and then upskilling and reskilling is very important for you to stay relevant, right? Thank you so much for that. Now I would just move straight to Anoma. Anoma, let's talk about data analytics, right? Amaka's kind of laid the foundation. Beyond the general skills like Python, Excel, Power BI, Tableau. I mean, like for somebody just starting, like somebody trying to position himself for, say, an international job opportunity, or trying to like put himself out there and is starting freshly in the field of data analytics. What are the skills? What are the other in-demand skills, right? That a professional would need in these times that we are, and for him to be able to properly position himself for these international opportunities?
Thank you for that question, Goodness. So I am going to try and answer it by breaking the skill sets into two different buckets. Okay. So soft skills and technical skills. So for soft skills, as a data person, you need to make sure that you have great communication skills, because you will be communicating whatever analysis you've done to stakeholders and consumers, and they need to be able to consume whatever you have sort of analyzed. The second soft skill is critical thinking. Also, problem solving is really good. Collaboration, because in your role as a data person, you get to work with product, sales, sometimes marketing, sometimes the engineering team, and you need to know how to collaborate with these teams in a way that the project you're working on is successful. For soft skills, one of the other soft skills that I don't hear people talk about is interviewing skills, which is completely different from being on the job. But to get into the job, you have to learn how to interview. That comes with practice, but that also comes with making sure that you are say watching YouTube videos on interviewing. If you're interviewing for a data analyst role, for example, there are certain questions that are niche to data analytics that you'll be asked, and you need to be able to fluently answer those questions in a way that the recruiter is not doubting your skills. So if we go to technical skills that I believe data analysts need to pay a little bit more attention to, I'd say data cleaning is one skill. And it's just really important that we sort of understand that data sets are not always clean. And I think from experience, most people prefer their data sets to come already clean, but that's not going to challenge you. That's not going to make you grow or make you better at your job. If there's one skill that you need to pay attention to at the start of your career is how to clean data. Don't rush through that process. Pay attention to columns, to cells, to each of the records that you get in a data set. Another skill is data modeling, which is also a great to have skill. Just understanding how data modeling works within Excel, within Power BI, within SQL, also within Python. Understanding how each of these two operates when it comes to data modeling is also very important. I also think that understanding how to handle missing data. Most people are quick to just delete. So, for example, if you get a data set and in one column out of, say, 100 records, there are only about 20 records. Most people are quick to delete the entire column because there is not 100 records instead of most people are quick to delete the entire column because they believe that deleting the column will make it easier for them. But learning and understanding that every data point is important and knowing what to use when you have missing data is also really important. So do you use statistics? Do you use the mean of the column or the mode of the column or the median of the column? Do you use standard deviation? Do you have to maybe fill the cells with non-values or a specific type of string type? So understanding that you do not just delete. I mean, if you're working in a big corporation, that's a criminal offense if you actually delete data. So understanding what to do when you have empty cells is really important. I think the last thing I want to say is when you are working on a project, make sure you also understand how to remove outliers, how to change data types. So if one of the major questions that I get when I'm helping someone with a project is let's say they're working on a date column and the date column is in a specific date format, you need to sort of understand why that column is in that specific date format. Why is it 12-hour instead of 24-hour? And is this affecting my analysis? Is this affecting what I want consumers to see? So these skills, albeit very specific, they are usually very easy to learn. All you have to do is work on projects and make sure that you are consciously paying attention to them and you're not rushing through them while working on projects. Does that answer the question?
Yes, Aduma. Okay. Thank you so much. I mean, that was really spot on. I'm sure the person that asked that question has gotten a great insight right now. Thank you so much for that. All right, I'll go straight to Samuel. SB, you in just during your session, right? You mentioned that, and I'll quote: "If your passion cannot sponsor your economics, it's just a hobby." So, are you saying that we should not follow our passion, right, regardless of because of the economic challenges? So, don't follow your passion. Just look at the economics of surrounding you and then move in that direction. Are you saying that passion is not needed or is not relevant?
Okay, thank you. Thanks once again. passion is important. And that was why I said in deciding what you want or what you want to go for, passion is one of the elements that you need to consider. The only thing, however, is that if we look at passion in isolation, then we may be missing it. On the topic of passion itself, I love everything that the first panelist mentioned, everything about you look what those things that you are is able to spot mistakes or how they can be better, those things that you love to do, finding that those elements, those are within the passion space. But beyond what you love or what you're able to spot, how you can make it better, there are then other elements to it. And for me, I would say two other elements may then guide you. It's not cast in stone, but that would be my advice. Passion is good. As a matter of fact, it is not less important than any other element. Absolutely important. Just that because there's been so much emphasis on passion, voices on other vital elements may be fading. And you may see younger people missing it because those other elements are fading. So yes, passion is important. Please follow your passion. You can do everything you're passionate about. You just need to be clear. Have these distilled thoughts. Like, to be clear is so underrated that if you are so clear, like there's this form of energy that comes with it. So I would say that understand your passion. But yes, while you understand your passion, and you can do everything that you want to do within the circle of your passion, but you also identify those things that you are good or have the potential to be extremely good at, and that also those things that also have the potential to drive your economic engine. Let me use a very simple language, like that can pay your bills, help you move to the next level, you get money from it, and all of those kind of things. Again, you may not be getting as much economies from it at the instant. For example, you can be doing something, and because you are just learning it, you may maybe be an intern, or you're just starting out, or there should be a pathway. You should know that, okay, there's a clear pathway for you to achieve certain levels, at least in the mid-term. If that is not there, that is exactly why I'm saying that you can continue to do it. And I use myself as an example. I play football every week. In fact, I still played football 2 days ago. But am I passionate about football? Absolutely. And let me even let you know, I'm an Arsenal fan. And for someone to have endured everything that comes with being an Arsenal fan, for those of you that love football, you would understand that I am passionate about football. I can be watching football and I'll be telling you, this guy should have dribbled the other way. Would have been able to go past his defender. That's exactly me telling you how the striker could have done better. And it's also something that I love. I'm passionate about it. But I'm piercingly clear that cannot drive my economic engine as it is. So I hope that gives some balance to the element of passion.
Yes, it did. The balance was, I mean, it's quite clear now. Like, you have your passion, be clear, and be objective enough to know that it should be able to sponsor and fund your bills, even at the starting level. Thank you, Samuel, for that. Like, a follow-up question, and this question is from Amina on the chat. Samuel mentioned that you should be a generalist. What if there's no room for that in your organization? What can someone do? Amina is asking that, Samuel.
Okay, thank you. Again, I understand that there can be limitation, especially based on where you are. For Amina, I think that context also matters, because to answer I'm going to answer the question. I'm going to answer it generically. A context may need certain level of guidance, which I do not have. But what I'm going to say is that I don't know what level Amina is. I don't know where, I don't know so many things about her context. But if you're looking out, either you're looking out for other opportunities, or if you're looking out internally, you can have conversations, whether you can begin to support, even when you are not, even though when those opportunities are not necessarily there, you can actually go for them. You can take up some of these things, even if they will be unpaid outside of your work. I don't know what you do. I don't know your context, but generalist doesn't necessarily have to be in one organization. It is possible to begin to volunteer in those other spaces, or begin to intern, or begin to learn more, or begin to just put your feet. I mean, learn those things. Be deep enough, be wide enough, go all out. Again, the answer to Amina may need to be tailored to our context. But what I would say generally is that whether or not your organization offers, the first thing may not even necessarily be get out of organization. You know what your plan is. So if according to your plan, this is the time you want to move on, the moving on can be taking up another position in the organization. It can be going to a different place. It can be anything whatsoever. Now that you know that you need to know more, especially at this level, you consciously go for that.
All right.
That's what I would say. Again, I'll be happy to, if it were possible. I mean, I'm happy to maybe talk to Amina separately after the whole session to maybe look at her context.
Yeah. Thank you so much, SB. If that's possible, we'll arrange it. There's another question on the chat box, and I would want to direct this question to Amaka. Accurately, I'm coming back to you, Luroti. Sorry, I'm coming back to you because I have a question for you, a burning question. But Amaka, there's a question on the chat box. Somebody's saying, and that's a BIA. I'm just starting my career in product design and facing a challenge. Despite applying to various jobs, I'm finding it tough to land one due to the common requirements of 2+ years of experience. It's frustrating and I don't know how to break into the industry. What strategies can I use to get my foot in the door and start my career?
Thank you very much for that question. Yes, to get a foot in the door as an entry-level product designer, right? Designer?
Yes, a product design. Yes, a product designer, entry level. Yes.
Okay, yes. Okay. So you should start by doing, because tech jobs, most times, they want to see your portfolio, what you've done. I understand it's an entry-level job, and I totally understand that is it's just commonplace for a recruiters to see what you've done in the past, right? Now that you haven't got any experience, it is to be a very good idea if you do personal projects. Do personal projects, then create a portfolio. You could create a website. You know, you could put your project in GitHub, get the link, put it in your CV, so that they can have an idea when they're reviewing your CV. They can have an idea of what you've done, and then be able to compare with what you are coming in to do. And in most cases, when they see your job and is an excellent output, they will want to listen to you. They will want to talk to you to see if you really do possess those skills. So what I'm saying is have something that they can work with, putting out all words and in the resume and being a fresh graduate and all. I understand it can be very challenging, but then the recruiter's work is also challenging in the sense that they have the responsibility to bring in someone that is skilled, right, to the organization. So you're going to make their job easier and also make yourself make yourself competitive by giving them something to work with, and that is make 2 personal projects. Then put the word out there, LinkedIn, talk to your friends, go to events like this, talk to them about you being open to opportunities in product design. Talk to people, network, enter their LinkedIn DMs, talk to them about you being open. Follow recruiters in the industry that you want to be in. Follow them on LinkedIn, and you can attend their events. You can put 1 or 2 words on the comment section. You can just try a way to connect with them on those platforms, and most importantly, give them something to work with. And that is you building personal project and putting the link in there so that they can have a feel of what your work looks like, or what the technology you've worked with or you can work with. And then, you will at least have a foot to the door. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Amaka. Thank you so much for that. I'm sure Biaya has gained clarity and insight from your advice. Thank you so much. Right. Just as a reminder, our participants, in case you have questions and you want to unmute, you can begin to raise up your hands now, your hands, right? I want to see your hands so that we can coordinate this appropriately. Yeah. Oluroti, so there's a question, and we want to hear a bit of your story, right? How did you, gain clarity on your career paths? Like we have seen the number of a number of brands that you've worked with, and you are in advertising, you are in branding and communications. How did you gain clarity on your career path today? And what advice do you have for some of our participants that are just starting out? Because some of them have this question. I don't really know what to do. Should I just go into tech? Should I just, everybody's talking about tech. And I think, how do I get clarity on the career paths that would lead me to fulfill my dreams? Yes, Oluroti.
Okay, thank you. If I heard correctly, your question is how do we gain career path?
Yes, clarity. Like, how do we get
clarity on your career path? Yeah.
Yes, your story. How did you do that, and what advice do you have for those that want to do the same?
Okay, thank you. I'll say it comes from again what I said earlier about having a niche and then knowing what your interests are. It's two-pronged. How did I gain? Right. So at an earlier stage, I think I actually wrote something about this on my website. I can drop the link before the end of the chat. So I think when I was far younger, something happened, in my primary school that actually, shaped my entire worldview from ground up, right? And a bit of backstory: I was the nondescript kid that I was always carrying last from the back. You get what I mean? And then I think I were given an assignment, right, to read something before the next class. It was an English class actually. So we're given an assignment to read something, and then out of laziness or whatnot, I stumbled on it over the weekend and I read it. And then one word struck me, extraordinary, and I'll never forget. And then when I saw the word, I I looked at it. It sounded very interesting, right? I crammed it actually, not because I wanted to, but because I wanted to just use it as a slough back in class. So when you're in class and then it's of you are fighting, you just say somebody, you're a septuagenarian. And everybody goes, oh, that kind of thing. Yeah, so that was my my main aim of memorizing that word. And then the next Monday or the next week in class, teacher asked who had read that passage, and then he called out the word specifically and was asking us, okay, who know the meaning of this word? And that was my word the entire weekend. I was practicing to insult somebody during the week, and I raised my hand, and of course, you know how they'll look at you and say, "Oh, this person is." I mean, it's not the brightest in the class, so there's no one. They'll look to call the brightest, and those ones did not respond. And then I kept my hand up, and then eventually, or reluctantly, called me, and I spelled the word. I gave the meaning. I even gave the etymology, the origin of the meaning of the word, and I was very stunned. Right, and he took me around classes, and he kept, like singing my praise to high heavens and all of that. Like from primary 5, we went to primary 6, then primary 4, primary 3, primary 2, primary 1. Like it was very stoned because that was me in a million years, right? I'm my class teacher, so he knows me, right? So when I got home, I told myself, that sounded very, very sweet. What an experience! Like, so this is how it feels like to be a star in the class or be a star of the class. Since then, I vowed that, okay, so if the secret is in reading, now read just about anything I can come across. And then, so I think that shaped my life entirely. I think from last in the class, the next term, I was like second. The next term, I was first, second, till university, till secondary school, and then uni and all of that. So from that time on, was like I read any and everything I could come across, and I realized that it made me more intelligent. Right, I won a couple of awards and all of that, but it builds the literary side of me, right? Which is actually where I'm going to. Like, how do you know yourself, right? So if you build the literary side of me, I realized I was very good at words, right? I could write, I could read, I prefer when people watch films or movies or stuff, I prefer reading. So I like locked myself in and read. And then over time, I started, writing also. So I realized that, okay, there's something that has to come out of this. And before you know it, I think I learned copywriting. I also learned art direction, and then my foray into the advertising world. So I think, and of course, till today, it helps me because now that AI has made it a lot easier, right? In the days of come up with a proposal or come up with a pitch deck for a company, where my colleagues or my colleagues that year where they'll be struggling and trying to string words together. I've done 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pages, and from welcome to thank you, I've done my slides, I've shared, and everybody's like, oh, your slides are nice. The coherence, the thoughts, the follow through, all of that, like was really spot on, all of that. So then on, I realized okay, I had a thing for conceptual or intellectual stuff, like putting things together in very interesting ways. So began my foreign advertising. I also began my creative spark because one thing reading fast teaches you is to build your imagination. So that then led into me being completely imaginative as possible. So I think of scenario, I think of concept, I think of like great things, how they can be different, right? I hear a radio ad and I'm like, oh, this can sound this way. Or I see a TV commercial and I'm like, oh, this can look this way. How do we tweak this and tweak that? Like it began to, make me extremely, extremely creative, right? And of course, I think advertising just lends itself naturally in that space. I was also lucky to have people around me that were able to like, okay, help me channel my strengths in the best way possible. Maybe if I was stuck in a maths class or in a very scientific, space, I probably would not have thrived. That goes to show that you need to pay attention to yourself and understand exactly what your strengths are, your best strengths, and how you can thrive. And then how you can also find out of or help yourself build your strength to a level that your weaknesses are nearly obliterated. or they're not even important. Now, I think that answers the first phase of the questions. Second phase was what again? Sorry.
What advice do you have for someone trying to build their get clarity on their careers path?
Okay, I'll just reiterate what I said earlier about interests. Like I said, if you take for example, you love creating content, right? And you scroll on Instagram or you scroll on anywhere and you see a content that is poorly done. Maybe the scripting was bad, or the lightning was subpar, or the resolution, because of course all these short dramas they have like a heightened resolution and then it goes down from there. Right? So the resolution is not there and all of that, and you get irritated, like, okay, this skit does not make sense. And then you see that, okay, the second, fourth, third, or sorry, fifth, sixth, seven, all the way down, you realize that, okay, you have some comments to give, like it didn't go well, and you wish that, okay, if they're done it this way, so have turned out this way. Or alternatively, right, you see something and then you realize that, this is actually brilliantly done. I wish I was, part of this job, right? Therein lies your interest. If you continue to hone in on such interest, I wish I can draw a map, but it's like an intersect of things that I see that are very well done and I admire, and things that I see and they are poorly done and I detest. When those two circles intersect, therein lies your interest. So you have to be intentional about it, like pay attention to it. Sometimes you might catch yourself, somebody walking past you and like, I like the way this guy's suit is. Very nice. Look at the edges. And people are telling you that I don't know what you're seeing. I just saw a black suit. And then you're telling yourself that no, but look at the patterns, look at the way the shape is and all of that, right? And then you're like literally taking it and giving the person password. You're like, oh, I wish I was the one wearing this. I wish I was the one that made this, right? Or as opposed to somebody walks past you and then you see that the person's outfit is dead. Like the sleeves are out, or I think there's a fashion designer on this call, so you pretty much would understand what I'm trying to say exactly, right? But you see that the sleeves are out, or the cutting and the joining, and the seams are like all over the place, and you feel very irritated. And people are not even seeing it. Like people are just seeing that, okay, this person is wearing it. I mean, I like the color is black, and you're like, what can you say about it? And I know it's just okay, and you are lost, right? Yeah. Therein lies your interest. So, but the question is, how often do you pay attention to those thought impulses? If you are very intentional about them and you pay attention to them, you see that your interest will come naturally to you over time. For sake of time, I think I'll just stop here so we don't belabor the point. Yes, but I hope the message is clear.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely clear. Yeah, that was spot on. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing your story too. Right. So a quick one to Samuel. There's a question from a participant. Is asking, or he or she is asking that for someone who has spent a long time in a path that hasn't been the best for her, right? What's the best advice you could give to the person? So this person is saying that I think there's a need to switch or to transition. Like, so what's the advice you want to give someone that it's been a path for a long time, right? And this path is not really the best for her. What's your advice for her? Hi, SB. You are muted.
Okay, thank you. So I would say that if someone wants to launch into a different path, I will build on what I hope I'm not missing his name. What he said last about, getting into your passion and all. Just follow exactly what he has said. But beyond that, what I'm going to add to it is that now that you're launching into something else, there are a lot of other factors that you would consider. And I'll just mention a few. What is the ease of getting into this space? The ease will include the competence required, the age. You also have to look at, I don't know how young or how old you are. Again, I believe that you have more than one passion. You have so many. You don't like what you do or where you are at the moment, and you want to move into something else. Again, I believe human beings can be multi-talented. So yes, you can move into something else, but you have to also sit down and analyze what is the ease of getting into the space. What will be the penetration strategy? What are the limitations? you have to ask yourself these questions. Where will it thrive? So you have to ask yourself these questions, basically. And if you're able to honestly answer these questions, you'll be able to take out certain options and limit your options to what is feasible and viable. You have to be clear. How can you get into this space? First, you've identified those things that you would like, and there can be a lot of them. Don't be limited. It cannot just be one thing that you can do well or have the potential to do well and also love. It definitely cannot just be one thing. It may take certain clarity sessions for you to know all of those, but I can tell you I've been in such sessions with people and I've seen them realize how many things that they can be good at and also love. So if you're able to identify that list, then you can then do a kind of mapping. It may even mean doing one thing before going to the other. It may also mean that what you do at the moment that you don't like may be what will lead you into something else. I mean, we've seen people, if you look at it, even in your organization or anywhere else, there is no one who started as a CEO, for example. They were something else before becoming something else. I've seen people who were engineers. And when I say engineers, I mean, in this case, I'm talking about back-end engineer, front-end engineer, and then eventually they became master at it. They became head of engineering, and then became CTO. But because of their business inclination all along, of course, they had to back it up with some MBAs and the likes, became CEO. Again, CEO is different from where they were coming from initially. There's a lot of difference. So it may be what you are doing at the moment. Now, imagine that person who was a back-end engineer. Why is he doing an MBA at a level of his part? I mean, why is he not just taking... Basically, he also wants to get into the business side of things. And yes, he's looking at how can I get into it? Oh, I probably need more business knowledge. And then went for that. So I would say that whatever it is that you want to go into, look at what is needed to get into that space. It will take some time. It will take some consultation. You need to speak to people doing it. You need to speak to, if you have the avenue, experts in that field. You need to get that knowledge. Just be open. Don't be shy. It's nothing to be shy about. Speak to people that are in that field. Know what it takes to get into the field. And that can be a starting point. That can be a guide. Yeah. What you do at the moment may also help you. There can be some transferable skills from what you do that you don't love at the moment into the next thing that you wish to launch into.
Yes. Thank you so much, SB. I'm sure the person must have taken that note. There can be some transferable skills. It's very, very important. Thank you so much. Right. My next question is going to Anoma, but I want Amaka. There's a question you would answer, please, in 1 minute. I would come to that after Anoma answers this question. Like, does everybody have to go into data analytics? Consider me a customer experience person or a customer success person, or consider me a teacher. Do I need to actually know data analysis? What exactly is it so important? Why is everybody just talking about data analysis, tech? Must everybody do, or must everybody know? Must everybody have a knowledge of data analytics? And yes, for those that are planning to go into it, I know that you lead a women in data analytics movement today. But would you want to speak on that?
Yeah, sure. But just to clarify your question, is your question, should people have a basic understanding on how data works, or do they need to become data analysts to excel at their current roles?
Right. Should they have that basic knowledge? Should they have the basic knowledge of how data works?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the same bias that I share with people should learn how to code, even if they don't want to work as software engineers. The thing with learning these things, take for example, learning how to code is to learn how to code is to learn how to critically think, is to learn how to problem solve, is to learn how to put things into perspective and provide solutions. To learn data is to ensure that you are indispensable. I think someone initially asked at the beginning of the session about being scared of AI, which is a valid fear. But usually, when people tell me I'm scared of AI, one of the first questions I ask them is, why are you not then learning about AI? Why are you not trying to find out how to use AI in your day to day? How to use AI so that you're not indispensable? How to just basically understanding how AI works. To your question, yes, I think people should have a basic understanding of how data works, how to gather data, how to clean data, how to visualize data. Mostly because people say the future is data, but I feel like that's the past. We have a marketer here, but if you ask him, he would tell you that they've been using data since the early 80s. They've been using data to make certain decisions. They've been using data for marketing strategies. They've been using data to grow businesses since like the early 70s. It's not a new thing. But I like that recently people are now becoming aware of it. People are now realizing that it's actually a field, it's actually an industry, and it's actually money, which I think is what is driving most people. Take, for example, Facebook, before they changed their name, they were in a lawsuit because they sold users' data to a political organization, which led to Trump winning said election. Data is not just, it's not superficial. It's actually me and you. We are currently on Zoom, right?
Yeah.
Right now, Zoom is collecting data on everything that's happening within this conference. They are checking how many people joined before we started, how many people joined as when we started, how many people have left the session while the session is happening. They are collecting specific data, and they're also using said data to make more money for themselves. So to answer your question, yes, I think people should learn how to use data. They should at least have a basic understanding. Learn Excel. Like if you don't even want to become so technical, go and learn Excel. Learn basic skills in Excel like cleaning, modeling, all of those things that I mentioned before. You can learn everything within Excel. You don't even have to go all out, but just have an understanding. For the latter part of your question, my community is actually called Women in Data Africa. And what we do is we help women get into data. So not just analytics, but also science, engineering, analytics engineering, artificial intelligence itself, if you want to become a machine learning engineer and everything in between. That's what my community, I guess, does. We do not just talk about technical stuff, although we place a very big priority on upskilling. We also do things like 25 days of data challenge, which is to help people consistently learn data for 25 days and upskill, and to also build their personal brand, because I encourage people to post on social media while they're learning. And there are also like so many other fun things that we do and we are also going to do as the year goes by. If you want to join, I guess I can drop the link in the chat box. So women that are interested in joining can sign up to join the community.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anuma. Thank you for that quick answer. Right. So we're rounding up now because we are pressed for time. Amaka, I have a question for you that you just answer, please, in just 1 minute. Thereabout. Somebody is saying for Mrs. Amaka, for someone who wants to begin a journey in business analysis, I suppose the person means business intelligence analytics. How can the person start aside taking courses online?
Yeah, thank you for that question. How can the person start? Well, you should start by understanding literally what it means to be a business intelligence analyst, what they do, and where they are needed and why the role is important. Just the literature about business intelligence. Then, of course, the literature is not enough. You have to get the skills. So I'll start with Excel. Okay, start with Excel. Start with the addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, all the basic functions. Go to VLOOKUP, do if. Then, of course, with pivot table, you are already doing your analysis, your data analysis with pivot table. Okay, Power Query, of course, start getting to the advanced skills, and then from there, you can think of a Power BI, which is a part of a Microsoft suite. If you have access to that, you can lay your hands on that and just figure out how that works. Then you can also try Tableau, sign up for the free trial, see how it works. And you can go to YouTube, see how you can build, just answer question, some industry or everyday issues in a company, and just solve one or two problems.
Right. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amaka. That was spot on and profound. Right. So this stage we're closing the panel session, and it's been an interactive time. Thank you so much, everyone, our panelists. We're so grateful. Thank you for sharing with us. I would want us to give our closing remark, and I would want to start with Oluroti. Oluroti, I don't know if you have a closing remark for us, something for somebody to take home here, and you want to share with us. Hi, Oluroti.
Hi, sorry. Okay. Thank you for the session. Actually, it's been a very interesting session. I've had my mental notes full already. I'll just, draw attention to the person that asked around AI and replacing them. I know that the panelists already did justice, and thank you for it. Very brilliant and solid point. But just to add a bit of gloss to what is already shining, I would say always try to stay ahead of the curve. What that means is you know in your mind that what brought you here will definitely not take you there or where you want to go, right? So what that means is you have to always have a dying creed, which is self-improvement. Is it the next course? Of course, all of this has to be tailored alongside your life plans or your career goals. So is it the next course? Am I registering for an MBA? I was talking to somebody this afternoon because I do some mentoring for a lot of young people around me, and then some of what's the questions you were speaking about were is goals and plans for the next quarter and all of that. So you always have that in perspective. But in regards to AI specifically, so as not to waste our time or not take a lot of our time, I'll just say that understand that AI is necessarily not here to take your job, right? But the guy who uses AI, or the person who uses AI, your colleagues who uses AI, will definitely take your job. I think I will just leave it there. And again, thank you for having me on this session. It was a great time. I had an amazing time, listening to everybody speak. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Oluroti. We are grateful. We're glad to have you here with us. Thank you. All right, SB, do you have a final part word for us before we go? All right, Anoma?
No, nothing specific. Just I think Oluroti actually said what I had in mind about AI. But I feel like one of the major fear also, if you think about industrialization, people were riding horses, and nobody wanted to start riding horses for like the longest time, especially when cars were being made. It was people that like just went along that did not. Essentially, what Oluranti said is the person that learns how to use AI that will most likely replace you, not AI itself. That's it.
It's the person that knows how to use AI that will most likely replace you, not AI itself. Thank you so much. It has been a very, very insightful and impactful session tonight. Thank you for our panelists. Thank you, Oloroti. Thank you, Anoma. Thank you, Samuel Bada. Thank you, Amaka. It's been a wonderful time. And from your moderator to the participants, thank you so much for asking your questions. Thank you for engaging. Right. It's been a great time. Thank you.